Can you feel it? The world right now? Where do you feel it? What do you feel? That last question actually wasn't rhetorical. Someone tell me what you feel. Fear, disgust, angst, anxiety. Ooh, yeah. Exhaustion. Anger, absolutely. Yeah. Incredulity. Amen. We all feel this right now. I feel it very intensely. But in the spirit of last week, of reframing the story, may I offer another name for what you are feeling, or at least a part of what you're feeling. There's no doubt the amount of tragedy and stress in the world right now is overwhelming, and we're definitely sensing that. But I think that we're also sensing something equally profound and equally powerful. I think we're sensing transformation. Now, transformation can still be scary. It can still be painful. You can still get bitten and burned and squeezed too hard. But transformation also suggests creation, the emergence of something new, born of the breakdown. And if we frame our moment as transformative, it asserts that the result is not yet written, which means that we have some responsibility in what is happening and in what is coming. Now, even if it's all butterflies and rainbows, transformation can still be really big energy. And it's not all butterflies and rainbows at the moment. It is big energy. Now, especially on the scale of paradigm, which is the scale that this transformation is trying to operate on. And that is a lot. That is a lot. But transformation also has hope baked in. So can you try that on for size? Sense what you were sensing just a moment ago, all those emotions and feelings, all that unease and anger and sorrow and fear and exhaustion. Return to that feeling, but now see if you can shift your sense of that wherever it is in your body, knowing that what you are sensing is also transformation. On a personal, national, and global scale, transformation. Does that change anything for you? Energetically, emotionally, how does it feel to reframe your feeling as transformation? Also not rhetorical. Scary, still scary. Different kind of scary? Different kind of scary. Curiosity's in the room now. Hopeful. By the way, transformation, along with equity, justice, generosity, interdependence, and pluralism, is one of our Unitarian Universalist values. It's a value that guides us calls us, and assures us. This feeling that you are feeling, if you can shift your framing of it, at least a big part of it, is one of our values. Framing that feeling as transformation rather than fear returns to us our agency. Now, we're actually supposed to be reflecting on interdependence as a Unitarian Universalist value today, and in truth, we are. You see, interdependence and transformation are inseparable partners. I was reminded recently that these two of our 6 values map precisely onto 2 of the fundamental precepts of Buddhism. Before Gautama Buddha attained enlightenment, he first had to understand in intensely experiential ways that impermanence and interdependence were the fundamental mechanisms of the universe. Everything is in a constant state of change, and all of that change is interdependent. Now, impermanence, as it is translated, is a sort of gloomy take on transformation. So maybe the translators were gloomy. But being optimists, we prefer to lift up transformation rather than impermanence as a value, as an ontological baseline. Transformation is necessary to interdependence, because without transformation, interdependence would be a static, lifeless monolith of stuckness. With interdependence, if one thing changes, then everything changes. Everything that changes, which is everything, changes everything else. Nothing lasts. It transforms. And because it does, interdependence is lively and dynamic. Transformation is necessary to interdependence. So you all remember Thich Nhat Hanh's lesson of the piece of paper, where he asks if you can see a cloud in a blank piece of paper. And the cloud is in the paper because it was a tree. And the tree needed rain, and rain comes from clouds. And then the woodcutter and the mill worker and the food they eat and the beings that made that food and the microbes in that soil and the ancestors of all those people and beings are in that piece of paper too. They're all in that paper, all interdependent. But the paper doesn't happen unless transformation is a fundamental part of each of its ingredients. The tree was a seed. The cloud was a creek. The mill worker was a child. The paper itself is all these things transformed. And then we transform it further when we put ink on it, turning it from an object into a communique. And that communique has a cloud in it. And then itself will eventually disintegrate. So talking about interdependence doesn't make much sense without also talking about transformation. And so in a way, the transformation that you are sensing right now, that was fear and anxiety, but we could transform into thinking about it as transformation, is also you sensing the interdependent web, just like Gautama did. Which I suppose means that you are all on the path to enlightenment. Now, last week we learned that we are each tellers of the cosmos, the meaning-making mechanisms of the universe, prophets of the Lord. And this week we're all emergent Buddhas. When we are conceiving interdependence and not just feeling it, we often conceive of it as a web, right? The interdependent web of life. But there are instances where that is as material as it is metaphorical, that web. For instance, there is a matrix of interconnectivity right beneath our feet. It is an underground matrix of fungi known as mycelia, of which mushrooms are the fruiting body, which is one of my favorite phrases now. And here too, interdependence and transformation are linked. For even while the mycelial network connects the various flora in an ecosystem, transporting both nutrients and information from tree to tree and plant, mushrooms and fungi are also the great decomposers and composters of nature. Transformation and interdependence. What's more, this mycelial network, this interdependence of ecosystems, seems to bear some functional resemblance of a neural network, this mycelial web beneath our feet. Looks like a brain. A neural network that is dynamic enough in aggregate that it stretches the concept of consciousness and personhood beyond the category of animal. Some might posit that this suggests a mind, that ecosystems are not just beings, but persons. And when we walk through them, we are walking through a mind. We have a hiking group here, right? Now, in the case of a forest or even a small patch of woods, the metaphysical flow has seen fit to express itself in innumerable unique beings within and in concert with other unique beings. Underfoot, a root and mycelial network that mirrors the structure and function of a brain. Overhead, lungs hurled through with birds. What is the inner, if not this? And then where my foot meets the ground, just as the boundary of each of the innumerable unique beings around me meets the ground, noting that I too am of this community of beings, that I too am a community of beings, interdependent all the way down and all the way up. So imagine a patch of land with which you are familiar. Call it to mind right now. A patch of land or water, a body of water, with which you are familiar. That stretch of land that's in your mind is a being. It's a mind. It's also, like you, a community. It is saturated with interdependent perspectives, connected by a fungal network of communication and sustenance, and this is wondrous enough, but there is wisdom to be found here as well. To unlock it, we might call to mind exactly what it is we mean by community. It's something that we ought to have a pretty good handle on, right? I mean, the most frequent reply when you use or ask why they commit to a congregation, as we just had some folks do today, is community. According to our own self-reporting, most of us did not come here to please God or even to find peace. At least that's not what we think we came here for. We are unreliable narrators. No, we're here for people, we say, a particular flavor of people that embrace us and call us in. The question is, do we recognize why community like this is so important? Why are you here for community? And I would suggest that the reason why community is so important is primordial and has remained at its core largely unchanged since we were amoebas. It's all about safety, connection, belonging, and creativity. These qualities allow us to lean into our interdependence and transform. They even allow us to be comfortable enough to decompose a little bit. So this place, this congregation, is a place where we can feel safe. And in that safety, we can be comfortable enough to rest and be vulnerable. We can feel safe enough to risk, to even be a little wounded, to make mistakes, or wound another with the chance to atone for it. We can feel our connection and experience of transformation with intention when you come here. And yet, even as I celebrate this place and your part in it, I also feel that this community is just the entree. We are a gateway community. We come together to feel an invitation to a connection to an even deeper resource. What you've built here is a place where we learn about community, learn how to do it, understand its benefits and its puzzles so that when we turn to that deeper resource, we have an idea about how to proceed. Connection to people in religious community is the first step towards connecting with something deeper. The interdependence and transformation that we experience here resonates with that of all being. And that deeper connection, that resource, invites you to communion through this community. That's why you're really here, right? So do not let this gathering be in vain. Learn here at church. Learn how to do community, the give and take, mutual support, the happy sacrifice, the humbling, the boring bits and bottom lines, atonement and laughter, grace and purpose, the vision for what could be here together. But not only for you or for this church. No, not even for each other only. You must apply this invitation and learning from this place to all the world. For that is what the world needs. From school board to pine grove to the soil beneath the concrete foundation that bears your weight right now, the world needs us to understand that it is a transformative, interdependent community, and for us to recognize our resonance and community with it. We are a community of transformative interdependence. In a world of transformative interdependence, we do it intentionally to bring ourselves in harmony. Interdependence reveals to us that the world is changing, and here we practice connection in the midst of transformation. We hold our transformation like Janet did, as love. We practice here for the world we want to emerge, a world centered on love, a world of justice, pluralism, generosity, equity, transformation, and interdependence. Can we breathe that in? Breathe in the vision of a world transformed. Breathing together. Breathing in all the beauty that wants to be. Can you feel that? Please rise in body or spirit.